all present in this virtual meet. In today's session, that is a very crucial session because you have known the UGC has allotted 8 different themes to us for conducting this NEP orientation and sensitization program. And in that theme, there is a one component, one theme that is a skill development. That is a very crucial theme. Okay, and in afternoon session, in today's session, we have invited Professor Marathi sir. So warm welcome you on behalf of the UGC Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Galge Baba Amravati University, to this flagship program that is NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program. Friends, Professor Marathi sir is a former principal at HVPM College of Engineering and Technology that is affiliated to the Sant Galge Baba Amravati University. Sir has more than 36 years of teaching experience as well as the research experience. And his area of interest is the chemical engineering, appropriate technology, and waste management technology. Sir has granted the 5 patents, and sir have received many more awards. Out of couple of that award is the Distinguished Professor, Distinguished Principal Award, Excellent Awards in the publication category, as well as the Basra Mitra Award. The basic purpose to invite sir in today's session is that whenever we are whenever we are upcoming to the national education policy and that drastic changes that has been happened in our educational higher learning, sir is a guru or the sir is a mentor to our university, and under his able guidance we have drafted a number of policies as well as, and the crucial topic that is the skill development is a major theme. But under that, there is a crucial theme that has been UGC that has been UGC introduced. That is NQF and NHEQF, National Qualification Framework and National Higher Education Qualification Framework. Sir will conduct a session, not a session. It will be the interactive and informative session that is based on the NHEQF. So with this brief introduction, sir, I again warm welcome and request you to start with your session. So please.
Thank you, Ankit. Thank you very much. Ankit is my very good friend, so he will always be good for me. So sincere thanks. I really do not know whether I deserve your word, but yes, you can say, definitely value your words, Ankit. Now, let us pay our rich tribute to Santa Gadge Baba, under whose name our university stands. Similarly, today is a very great day. Today is the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, who everybody knows his contribution for our freedom struggle, as well as birth anniversary of Balasaheb Thackeray. May be controversial, but definitely a leader in his own style. So let us pay our rich tribute to all dignitaries. Let me express my sincere thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor of our university, Pro Vice Chancellor, mainly our Director of UGC HRDC earlier. Now it is Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Mission, to Dr. Atik sir, and all team of UGC HRDC, and distinguished, learned, all professors and faculty members. As Ankit has rightly said, we will have more interactive. I will try to present my concept about implementation of NEP 2020 in skill development domain. And under skill domain development domain, there is a special category which is, in my opinion, the backbone of implementation of NEP in this skill development sector, and that is qualification framework. So we will try to interact and have some glimpses of what this qualification framework talks about, how it will be useful for us, we as the university, we as the institution, and we as the teacher, how it is important to understand these frameworks so that while implementing, it will be easier for us. So we will start with our discussion on National Education Policy 2020. Our 90-minute session, we will divide it 5-10 minutes or 15 minutes we will keep exclusively for our question answer session. I hope if curiosity is generated, many questions may come to dignitaries who are in our virtual meet. So, in the remaining minutes, we will have our discussion in three parts. Some few minutes about foundation and what is fundamental principle or background of NEP 2020, and then we will understand the purpose of NEP, what is expected after implementation of NEP, what change is expected, and to bring about that expected change, what frameworks have been provided, and we have to operate under and the guidance of those frameworks. So, in my opinion, those frameworks are at the core of implementation of NEP. Friends, all of us know that NEP 2020 had a big background of mainly 2.5 decades. After education policy of around 1985-86, a one change came in 90s, and that was globalization. And somewhere in 87, Washington Accord came into picture, wherein the globalization of higher education in the form of National Board of Accreditation and NAC started coming into the world scenario. India became the signatory, temporary membership was obtained, and our higher education started in the process of globalization. In National Education Policy 2020, you will find the furtherance of this globalization in the form of standardization of qualification through certain framework. So, second change while implementing NEP came in somewhere 2000 to around 2000 or 2002, when Johannesburg Conference was held at the instant of Al Gore, then Vice President of America, and many other world leaders. And outcome of that Johannesburg Conference came in 2004 in the form of Bonn Declaration, and it talked about sustainable development goals. They have set 17 sustainable development goals, and we will find that NEP has impact of that SDG also, and it is expected to implement sustainable development goals, and at number of places in the policy we can find the mention of sustainable development. Third point, which again we find impact in evolution of NEP, is you can say information technology revolution. After 2005 and 6, except higher education, all sectors, let it be economic sector, let it be medical sector, everything was affected by information technology, including sensitive sectors like share market or banking. We find IT has impacted a large, and after COVID, we have also found importance of IT sector in education. So these three parameters we find in evolution of NEP. Last but important point of regarding NEP 2020 is its draft was given by none other than Chairman of ISRO, Dr. Kasturi Rangan. And it was evolved over the years of discussion. Very learned, high people, quality people were there in that committee. Why I am insisting it? Let us understand this NEP, the draft document, had come out after evolution of 2 decades of discussion and changes worldwide. And the important point was now Indian system cannot remain in isolation. It will be the part of globalization. So whether degree is from any X university in the country, it has to be standardized and equivalent to any Y university degree of the country or Z university of the world. So this dictum we will find at number of places, and regarding skill education also, and these all frameworks, credit framework, qualification framework, learning COF framework, everything we will find it has come as a standardization and globalization process. So foundation of NEP is on 5 pillars. Access equity, we will find it comes from sustainability development. Quality comes from Washington Accord. Affordability and accountability are the combination of all these three factors. Once we understand the pillars and the background of evaluation of NEP, now we can understand how this policy, the first it was a draft, it was accepted by union government, and now it had come out as policy, and it is very much in the implementation stage vigorously also. This policy document we will find has got four parts. Part one is school education. Today we will not discuss about it. Part two is higher education. Amongst this higher education, 9, 10 chapters, we will be mainly talking about today the skill education part of it, and amongst that also qualification framework part of it. Part 3 is other areas of the focus, and part 4 is making it happen. So making it happen is that union and state government and some
Okay.
statutory changes. So we will not touch it. Mainly we will be talking about part 2. Now, important part of NEP policy 2020, which is relevant for our today's discussion. Please see the statement. What is education and what for education? These two questions are very you can say unambiguous way. Very clearly they have given the vision for that. What is education? The education, they say that it will be to study some one or more specialized areas of interest at deep level. So cognitive level. So one domain of education, what is education? One domain will be knowledge. That is cognitive domain. What is second domain? 21st century capabilities across the range of disciplines. That is skill domain. Psychomotor domain, skilling, doing. So that is the second domain the education policy state. And third and important, probably it is new for with the higher education, is to developing character, ethical, constitutional values. So it is affirmative domain. So value, ethics, behavior, attitude, that is also been made as a one of the important domain of education. So henceforth, whether it is school education or higher education, when we say education, education means it will have three domains. One will be cognitive domain, knowledge domain. Second will be psychomotor skill domain, that is doing or skilling. And third will be affinative, that is behavior domain. So what is education? These three domains with education. And second question, the policy says, what for education? So mandate is very clearly given to we higher education people that we have to prepare student for number one, more meaningful and satisfying life. Friends, let us understand, successful word is not there, meaningful and satisfying. This is our one mandate given to us. Second is prepare students for work roles. So very important mandate is we have to prepare students futuristic. So we have to first understand what our student will be doing after taking degree, diploma, certificate, and when you go into the work role, whatever is expected from a certified, qualified person in that work role, that has to be, the candidate has to be very well prepared for work role. So takeaway for us is before going into implementation, let it be syllabus framing, curricular framing, teaching plan, my assessment, I must have one question in my mind, whether what I am trying to teach or what the student is learning, in what way it will be preparing that student for future work role. So that part we have to keep in mind when we say that I have to implement NEP, and there the qualification framework is important. And third part, mandate given to us is to prepare students to enable them for economic independence. So what is education and what for education? Those are been very clearly spelled out, and complete implementation part we will find will revolve around what is education and what for education, these answers of these two questions. So we will be revolving around three domains: cognitive, psychomotor, and affinitive. And our implementation part, all our operating procedures, curriculum, assessment, everything, what we do in our education system will be for preparing students for meaningful life, for their workload, and to enable them for economic independence. Now, when we talk about now our initial part, will be after we have understood what is background of NEP. Now let us understand what is education, as we have seen that three domains means education. So what is expected? Let me start from last, because it is something new for our higher education system, would be affective, then psychomotor, that is skill domain, and cognitive, that is knowledge domain. This cognitive domain will have again different levels. These levels are from Bloom's taxonomy. The lowest level is of remembering, understanding, and applying. Generally, our education system was stuck up with these three layers of remembering, understanding, and applying, while as per policy, these are the primitive lower levels. Higher education should more operate in higher levels like analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So last is creating, generating new ideas, products, way of giving the things. You can say designing, constructing, planning. These are the higher levels in cognitive domain. When we will prepare our syllabus, when we will have frameworks, when we will have different qualifications, we will find within few minutes that whatever qualification framework is given now by UGC or statutory bodies or by world bodies, you will find that cognitive domain will have structured way. Lowest level will be from applying and highest level will be by creating. So complete education is now converted in a structure form or level form. So henceforth, we will be talking about levels of education rather than years of education. And those levels will have different, all three domains at each level, but in that particular domain, level will go from applying. Suppose I am talking about first year or lower level, it may be having more or applying. When I go to second year or a higher level, I will be talking about analyzing. When I go still higher level, my syllabi will have more something on evaluating and creating. So this is about first domain, that is cognitive domain. Why we should keep this in mind? Because when we will go for qualification framework, that time this terminology will be used, domain and level of domain. So to understand that level, we have to little bit go through this. What are three domains and what are their levels? Second domain is psychomotor domain. What is our main topic for our today's discussion? That is doing and skilling domain. So qualification framework with respect to psychomotor domain or skill domain or doing domain, we will be able to understand its framework once we understand the levels of this domain. There are 7 levels of this domain, beginning for perception, set, and guided response. It is something, mainly you will find these 3 levels are for school, and we say that get, set, go. So perception, set, and guided response are something like get, set, go, wherein initially students are expected to get ready. So they will simply repeat whatever is asked to be done by, then will be they will be ready to perform once they have practiced under some coach or guide or teacher. Then they will be performing it whatever has been told, and they will be performing it under guided response to some next level. But all these perception, set, and guided response, in my opinion, will apply meant to the school education. For we higher education, the levels for psychomotor domain will begin from mechanism, complete overt response, adaptation, and organization, wherein the student will be expected to perform with efficiency, with, you can say, more of autonomy, independency, and he should be able to create something new patterns. So if I correlate with our laboratories, probably lower level practicals or first year, second year practicals will be more of practicals, practicum, wherein some patterns are given and under supervision of a teacher, students will be repeating whatever has, or will be practicing and repeating whatever has been done, is told by under the supervision. But as they will go higher level, probably in final year, they will be experimenting, they will be creating new pattern, they will be trying with new sets of condition, and whatever has been practiced at lower level, that practice they will use to create the pattern, new pattern, rather than repeating the pattern. So this is the conceptual change when the levels of psychomotor domain will go from lower level to higher level. So mainly from mechanism to organization, as the level will change, as the year will change, we will find our syllabus, our practicum, our way of teaching, the way students will learn will go on changing from one level to another level. And everywhere, assessment will be very important. Third domain, which is the important part of education, is affective domain. So it is about feeling, it is about attitude, it is about behavioral. So universal human values, cross cultural issues, gender sensitization, constitutional values, those will be the areas where ethics and values, that system of the student, that faculty of the student, we will be enforcing. So here there will be 5 levels. Receiving, responding will be probably for, you can say, schools level, wherein morals, values, ethics are told. Students are expected to respond to the giving certain stimuli, and they will be more under somebody guidance. And value, they themselves may not create, but they will follow whatever is value system or ethical systems are, you can say, is already in place. For that, they will be trained. But for our higher education, levels will be valuing, organization, and internalizing. What is so? If I talk about first year, probably our moral ethics, human universal human values, cross cultural issues, such type of value and ethics we will be having at the level of valuing, wherein we will try to make students understand how to attach value or worth to anything what the person is doing. So that will be the approach for lower levels in higher education. As the student enters into second year, or what we call it as a higher level, what are those levels we will soon understand. In that case, he will be conceptualizing the value. This is what is expected. And when it comes to the final year or higher level, here integrating the value system and becoming, you can say, a strong believer and controller of behavior towards values and ethics system. Because as we know, now in a globalized world, value ethics, universal values, cross-cultural issues have become more important. We know that now in Western countries, even addressing a person with he or she is considered as highly objectionable. In international situation where our students will be working, there may be some colleagues from Africa, probably having some dark color, maybe from Europe, America, some red or white skin. Somebody whose eating, attiring habits are all too different. That time, it is expected that our student becomes a true cross-culturally sensitized, gender sensitized. Tomorrow, it will not be only female who can be the boss of a boy. It may be third gender also who will be the working in a team or a team lead. So gender sensitization, universal human value, our constitutional values, and making value systems and ethical systems strong has become an important ingredient. So when we talk about education, let it be school education or higher education, this domain of behavior attitude is considered to be very important, and it is mandate for we the higher education people to develop a student in all these three domains: knowledge, skills, attitude, and behavior. So, our canvas of educating the student, what we generally call as teaching learning. Now, teaching has become less important and learning has become more important. So, everywhere, word learning is used rather than teaching. So this teaching learning process will be in three domains. This is what we have to understand. So even when we talk about skilling, it will be in three domains, and all three domains will be equally important. Now, on this basis, now we have we have nicely understood what is education. We have understood all three domains of education, and we have understood the purpose of also education, that to prepare students particularly for their meaningful and satisfying life, for their future roles, and to lead them economically independent life. So once we have understood this, on that basis, our redesigning of program and curriculum will start. Now, there are various instruments given under by UGC or statutory bodies, which will help us to design our programs. So, amongst those various instruments, today we will be talking about NQF and NSQF and NHEQF with reference to skill development particularly. Now, what is this policy says about this qualification framework? So once we understand the policy statement, it will be easier for us to understand those frameworks and then adopt it and implement it at our own institutions. The NEP 2020, our National Education Policy, envisages the formulation of expected learning outcomes for all higher education programs. So the fundamental, you can say, element of framework is learning outcome. So we are completely switching over to outcome based education. So before, the first step required to implement this qualification framework, even in skill domain, is to formulate the expected learning outcome. Now this expected learning outcome will depend upon the level at which the student is learning. Say in school education, we know that in school education it will be 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 pattern. So if the student is at 5 level or plus 3 or plus 3 or 4 level, so it is say level 4, what we will soon see that it is called as 4, level 4. So learning outcomes of level 4 will be altogether different than learning outcomes of level 6, altogether different learning outcomes of level 8. Domains will remain same. It will be knowledge, skill, and behavior. But outcomes we will have to formulate depending upon the level. So this first thing we have very clear in our mind. Second statement, policy statement states that National Higher Education Qualification Framework (NHEQF) will be formulated and it will be in synchronized with NSQF. Now we will have to understand what is this NSQF and why policy statement says that it will be in synchronization with NSQF. It means before our NEP 2020 draft was submitted to Union government and accepted by Union government, somewhere in 2013, NSQF was already accepted and was in place. And this policy statement says NHQF will be formulated, but it will be in align with NSQF. Friends, let us understand. This 2013 NSQF was formed in association with international labor organizations, international professional associations and organizations, and in consultation with international and requirement of benchmarking of international level, this NSQF document has come up. Again, why I'm talking about international? Because it is a part of globalization. The process started somewhere in 90s and still continuing. And we have to understand it. It is a process of standardization and benchmarking at par with international level. So NSQF we will little bit understand. Then it will be easier for us to understand NHQF. And purpose is the integration of vocational education into higher education. So when we talk about skilling part of national education policy, the main thrust is integration of vocational education into so-called academic education or academic stream. And to ease that process, this framework is there. So for whenever the skilling will be we talking, we have to always refer to NSQF, and we have to always keep in mind the purpose of integration of skilling and vocational into every type of education. So now, for our today's discussion, once we have understood what is the background, three domains, do you mean by education, what is the purpose of education, and how this NHEQF has come out, and it is the policy statement to ease the, you can say, the vocational education, integration of vocational education into mainstream education. So we have to understand certain terminologies and concepts. First is, what is qualification framework? Let it be National Qualification Framework, let it be NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework, or let it be National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So this is the very important instrument of implementation of NEP. So we will have some understanding of this qualification framework. Once framework is understood, it is based on level based, competency based. So we will understand what are those qualification levels, and for each level, there will be descriptors for all three domains, learning outcomes for each level. So what are those descriptors, that we will understand, and other supporting framework. We will not go into detail for today's discussion for other framework, but then since they have to be mentioned, otherwise we cannot understand qualification framework. So we will have few minutes discussion on credit framework, and finally learning outcome based curriculum framework. So qualification framework, credit framework, and curriculum framework, these are the three important guiding pillars under which implementation of NEP in general and particularly for skill development component will be guided. So we have to understand at the time of implementation of NEP that we have to work out everything under this framework. So first and foremost thing, very clearly described in UGC document or statutory bodies document, is what is qualification ultimately. So they have discussed quite in detail before going to framework, qualification framework. Traditionally, we know that somebody when successfully completes some prescribed program of study, some qualification is given by educational institution. This is our general way of understanding what is qualification. Another way is there are formal awards, say such as certificates, diploma, bachelor, master, doctoral with general nomenclatures. There we may attach bachelor degree in something, master's degree, but these are the formal, when we say qualification, those are the formal awards. Importantly, they are awarded by some competent authority. Then and then that qualification or that award has got some meaning it has to be awarded by competent authority, maybe university or autonomous colleges. Why? In recognition of attainment of the expected learning outcome after successful completion of program. Every word is important. What do we mean by successful? How do we measure attainment of expected learning outcome? And who is the competent authority? So these three are the important ways when we talk about qualification. Now, NEP also states very clearly that they are to be awarded after assessment and evaluation of learning levels conducted by competent authority. So this, when we will design, there are many courses which will be evaluated and assessed at college level. Say internship, say fieldwork. There are many components when we later on see the verticals of NEP. But when assessment and evaluation and attainment of the expected learning outcome relevant to that particular level. If the course is of first year level, attainment expectation will be different. So assessment and evaluation will be with reference to that. If it is final year, if it is master's, if it is PhD program, the expected outcomes will be different. Accordingly, the tools and methods of assessment and evaluation has to be done, and it has to be done by competent authority. So statutory bodies are like National Testing Agency. Many competent bodies will come along with university for that. So qualification is very important aspect in NEP implementation part, and each qualification is to be aligned with some academic credit system. So a credit framework is there. So for attaining certain learning outcome, a learner will get certain credit and they will be deposited in academic bank of credit, and student can, you can say, give those credit in terms of some certificate, in lieu of some certification, anytime, anywhere. And these credits are to be awarded by after assessment and evaluation and confirmation of attainment of defined learning outcome. What does it mean? First, we have to define the learning outcome. We have to ensure its attainment, and it has to be in reference to academic workload of student who complete the chosen program. So according to that, qualification and credits will be awarded. So this is what is the basic concept of qualification in qualification framework. Now, what is qualification? Once we have understood what is qualification or concept of qualification in NEP 20 with reference to skill development, we should understand what is the framework now. Now, it is the way of structuring existing and new qualification defined by learning outcomes, reflecting graduate attributes, the program learning outcome, course learning outcome. That is statements of what learner is expected to know, understand what the learner will be able to do, understand what learner will be able to demonstrate on the successful completion of approved program of study. So depending upon the level, all these qualifications are put in a structured way, in a pyramidal way. Lowest, you can say, level will be at the bottom, highest level will be at the top, and each level, whether it is existing or new qualification, it will be attached with certain learning outcomes. Obviously, at lower level, learning outcomes will be different. Remember, these outcomes will be in three domains. If we go for higher level, some attributes will be different. Now here we have to understand that statutory bodies, UGC, NAC, NBA, in association with international bodies, Washington Accord, something like that, they have provided with graduate profile or attributes. Very clearly, graduate attributes, what we call it as program outcomes, are given. We don't have to define those outcomes of a program, but we have to align all our processes to towards align, you can say attainment of those program outcome. And it will start from each course which we study or which we teach our student study. So from what is expected from that course, what is expected from that program, from that year. Presently, we will use the word year, but later on we will use the word level. First year, second year, third year. There will be number of courses for each year. We have to first make it very clear after learning this course what the student will be able to do. And that has to be mapped, that has to be assessed. Once we assess and find that yes, competency is achieved, then only credits have to be given. This is how this framework has evolved. Now, for each level and for each qualification, some specifications, some general statements about achievement of learner will be given, and on a successful attainment of those expected general statements, it is verified, then award of qualification, maybe certificate, diploma, degree, master's degree, or doctoral degree will be given. And this structuring of all this qualification is called as qualification framework. So it will be competency-based education and training, outcome-based learning. These are the important aspects of qualification framework. So we are going from academic level, you can say higher education, to competency-based education and training. So this is the major change which we will see after implementation of NEP. So knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes acquired or possessed by individual student will be more important than the mode of acquiring them. See, this is very important statement of NEP. They have very clearly given the domains and they have very clearly mentioned the outcomes. They say the what way they are acquiring, mode of acquiring those attributes is not important. What is the takeaway for we people? A student taking these attributes through open mode, in formal mode, informal mode, or non-formal, drop out also. If he is tested and found that this much knowledge, skill, and attitude level a student has achieved, a drop may get admitted in higher education in view of courses. Those generally are kept for 12 students. So 8th school dropout will also be able to enter higher education system if the attributes are assessed and found that the candidate has attained those. So this is the big change which will be coming. Now, once we have understood what is qualification, we have understood what is qualification framework, let us understand what is National Qualification Framework or NQF. Now, it is a national given an instrument for classification of qualifications according to a set of criteria for specified levels of learning achieved. Now it will be a continuum, it is a integrated, it is a coordinated framework. So National Qualification Framework is an instrument where all qualifications are classified, they are coordinated, integrated, and they are aligned with certain set of criteria of specified levels of learning. So levels of learning, what is expected are very well specified in National Qualification Framework. So we as a teacher, we as an institute, we as the university, we do not have to define program outcomes. It is already given by them. We do not have to define qualifications given by qualification. We do not have to arrange them in a structured way given by qualification framework. For each level, we do not have to specify what is expected learning outcome of that level. That is also given by NHEQF. So these frameworks are provided. Now we have to work, we have to operate, we have to devise and design our system under this qualification framework. So when we have understood national qualification framework, as in the initial stage I told, it is a process of globalization. So this national qualification framework, it is aligned with international qualification framework. So what, let us in few minutes understand international qualification framework, then it will be easier for us to understand national, then NHEQF and implementation, which we have to ultimately do. The most worldwide accepted process of qualification framework is Bologna process. It is of European higher education area, and for they have developed NQF for European Union countries, and it is most widely accepted qualification framework. So India has also aligned and adapted the same Bologna process of international qualification framework, which is mainly European countries, for our country also. Now, this framework, international framework, Bologna framework, has got descriptors for each qualification, and they are called as Dublin descriptors. So these Dublin descriptors you will find has got impact in our NHEQF qualification framework descriptors also. So what are these Dublin descriptors? Those are general statements about the learning outcome that are expected to be achieved by students after completing a curriculum of studies and obtaining certain qualification. Let it be certificate, let it be diploma. With each level, after certain duration, after learning hours and specified course, the whatever qualification of that level is given, according to that, the statements are given. The student will be assessed to ensure that those, you can say, levels are attained by the student. Those statements, whatever descriptions are given, those are attained by the student. That attainment will be verified by competent authority, and only after that qualification or that award will be given. Now, what are those Dublin descriptors? These Dublin descriptors are of 5 elements. You will find that again they are only on these 3 domains: cognitive domain, skill domain, and you can say affirmative domain, behavior or attitude. First is knowledge and understanding. Second is applying knowledge and understanding. Third is making judgments, communication skills, and learning skills. These are the Dublin 5 elements of Dublin descriptors. And what does it mean? The Dublin descriptors, the statement says that a certificate or some qualification will be awarded to students who have demonstrated knowledge and understanding in a field of study that builds upon their general secondary education and is typically at a level while supported by advanced textbooks. Some aspects will be informed by knowledge and forefront of their academic field of study. So it is an academic stream, and depending upon level of knowledge and understanding attained, and student is able to demonstrate the attainment, depending upon the level, that certification will be done. Out of 5, that will be the one condition of academic stream. Second is the student. This is our main important for today's discussion. A student should be able to apply the knowledge and understanding in a manner that indicates a professional approach to their work or vocation, and have competencies typically demonstrated through devising and sustaining argument and solving problems within their field of study. So second domain, skill domain, psychomotor domain, where student will be has to demonstrate that the student is able to apply whatever knowledge and understanding, and the manner is also very clearly given. So it has to be assessed, and depending upon its attainment, the second condition, then that proper qualification or certification will be given. Third is the student should be able to gather and interpret relevant data. Again, it is a skill domain, and to inform judgment. So depending upon the competency in gathering, interpreting, inferring, and judging, Say if it is a lower level, if the student is able to gather the data, you will say that, okay, he is level 4. If the student is able to gather and interpret the relevant data, now relevant data of field of study, probably we will say, okay, achieved level of 5. If he is able to infer, probably level 6, and if able to make judgments on that relevant to social, scientific, ethical issues, we will say that, okay, achieved the level of, say, 6 or 7, something like that. So as the level goes, the expectation of learning outcomes will also change, but domain is very fixed, that it is about this domain of gathering and interpreting data. Communication is another domain, and lifelong learner skill with higher degree of autonomy, independent, how to learn is only learning which we the teachers are expected to give. We have to make student for lifelong learning. So this learning skill will be, first step is learn, second step is ability to unlearn, third step is to relearn, and fourth step is lifelong learn. Probably first time something like unlearn, whatever you have learned, please as early as possible you unlearn. That skill also is to be given, because technology changes is so fast that whatever skill a person had in few years back has become redundant. UGC has, you can say, given a data that 84 million jobs will vanish because old skills are not required, but 94 million jobs will be newly generated, requiring new types of skill. So learning, unlearning, relearning, and lifelong learning, that is the fifth descriptor of doubling. Now, we have now understood what is qualification. We have understood qualification framework. We have understood national qualification framework. We have understood international qualification framework. We have understood Bolingo process. We have understood doubling descriptor. Now we will come to our NSQF and NHEQF, which are the core for implementation of NEP again for us. Now, this NQF was before NEP came. It was already there along with International Labour Organization. The national qualifications for vocational education and training was there, and vocational qualification framework was prepared. And in integrating NVQF and NVEQF, NSQF, that is National Skills Qualification Framework, also came in 2013. Just 1 minute to repeat what this National Skill Qualification Framework is all about. It is about aligning the world's standardized learning outcomes, particularly in skill area, in association with International Labour Organization and international professional associations. Indian National Skills Qualification Framework was framed. It will have definitely something like Bolingo descriptors and Bolingo processes and Dublin descriptors. And when NEP became as a policy or even as a draft, it was given that national higher education qualification in alignment with NSQF will be formulated, and it is the guiding pillar for us to implement NEP. We have to implement NEP under these three qualification framework. Now, this National Skill Qualification Framework was in alignment with standard classification of occupations maintained by International Labour Organization. This provides the basis for recognition of prior learning also. So whatever occupation you mention, let it be housekeeping or let it be designing or scientific endeavors, you will find all occupations are classified, and in India, those are classified under 36 sector skill council. So you name the occupation, you will find the sector skill council for that. And each sector skill council has defined the job roles in their council, and according to their job roles, the stratification of qualifications, structuring of qualification is done depending upon the job roles. And making this framework is known as National Skills Qualification Framework. And it is credit based frame. It is also a credit based framework, and purpose is facilitation of mobility from general academic stream to vocational and vice versa, as well as reintegration of dropouts with their practical experience with the relevant level of framework. As I was saying, 6 dropout, 8 dropout, 10 dropout, they can also come with their recognition of prior learning, their practical experiences by some competent authority. And if the student has ever the person, the boy or girl was working, in that it will be it will the level will be recognized and they can enter into higher education. So we have to provide this learning environment and student support as for successful implementation of NEP. Our guiding frameworks will be NHEQF, National Higher Education Qualification Framework, National Skills Qualification Framework, Credit Framework, choice-based. It will be a very flexible multi-entry, multi-exit system, choice-based credit system, and most important will be effective teaching methodologies, because concept of teaching is completely changed. Now it is not only teaching, it is counseling. To student will have to be given counseling for selection of courses. So teacher will be a counselor, he will be facilitator, he will be guide, he will be supervisor. Internship is to be given along with coach and teaching. So this is expected environment which we have to create for proper implementation of NEP. Let us understand NSQF first, because once we understand NSQF, NHEQF is nothing but aligning of same qualification framework to NSQF, that becomes NHEQF. So it is the organization of qualifications according to the series of levels of knowledge, skills, and aptitude or attitude or behavior. Domains are seen. So for every level, knowledge, skill, attitude, behavior, these 3 domains education has to be given, and depending upon the expected learning outcomes, the qualifications are organized in a series. Lowest level, of course, is 1, which is at the bottom. Highest level in case of NSQF is 10, while in case of NEGQF, they have made it 8. Now, these are defined in terms of learning outcome. It is regardless whether they are acquired through formal, non-formal, or informal. Very important takeaway for us. It's not necessary that our higher education student will come only through formal mode of school education. He may come from non-formal open schooling. Even he may come from informal learning with practical experiences, school dropout also. So this is what is important feature of NSQF, and this framework will provide multiple pathways, horizontal as well as vertical. So both vocational as well as vocational training, academic training, general education, technical education. So multi-entry, multi-exit, horizontally, vertically, very flexible framework and pathways are expected in this qualification framework. And it is a continuum. One level of learning will be linked with another higher level. And we are moving towards competency-based education. Once it is expected that NSQF, this framework, will enable a person to acquire competency, go to the job market. Again, if new skills is required, return for acquiring additional skills and further upgrade their competency. So this type of flexible system is expected through NSQF framework. Now, NSQF framework it is expected that it will be further detailed and will be made aligned, and NHEQF will come. Most important part is international compatibility of standard. So national occupational standards and international compatibility, as I was right from the beginning saying, it is a process of globalization. It is the making standardization, making certain benchmarking, and thereby compatibility of standards with local and global. This is NSQF. So key elements are recognition of skill proficiencies and competency at different level, leading to international equivalency, multi-entry, multi-exit between vocational training, general education, technical education, and job market, and progression along within the skill qualification framework. It is expected that it will partnership with industry and employer, because we have to prepare students for their future job roles. So whether he is like to be a self-employed or likely to get some employment elsewhere, whatever is expected after attaining that certification, the candidate should be able to perform in the job role. That is why partnership with industry and employer is considered to be important element of qualification framework. Accountable and credit mechanism for skill development across various sectors. I told you in India already 36 sectors are formed, and you name any occupation, you will find a sector skill found. So the objective is the accommodation of diversity of Indian education system, development of set of qualification based on learning outcomes which are accepted across the nation as well as standardized with international. So one qualification at one corner of the country will be at par or equivalent with any other part of the country. So one degree, one certificate, one diploma in one university will be at par with any other university in the country, and even it will be recognized at international level. So that is what is the objective of providing qualification framework. So what is important is mobility of learner across institutions, streams, through alignment with international standards and curricula and assessment aligned to NHEQF and NSQF. So this is the important objective of NSQF. Few keywords we should understand before we go to NHEQF. For NSQF, keywords are skills, qualification, recognition of prior learning, national occupation standard, qualification pack, curriculum pack, sector skill councils, and levels. So out of that, important is probably we should understand is national occupation standard. Remember, it is a measurable performance outcome required from an individual engaged in a particular task. So what is done is whatever job role every sector skill council has listed down, whatever task a person is expected to do in their performing role over there, and it becomes the national occupation standard, and package of all these national qualification standard for a given job profile becomes a qualification pack. So we, the teacher, now should be aware of this terminology like NOS or QP or CP. We should be aware of sector skill councils, because these sector skill councils are one which will be providing us the internship opportunities, skill courses, then certification of those courses. So NOS, QP, sector skill councils, we should be aware of it. We should be aware of the levels. As we are talking, this qualification framework is completely based on level or structures. So the levels are arranged according to the series of levels of knowledge, skills, attitude, and behavior. And they will be defined by certain descriptors in the form of learning outcomes. Right from the beginning, we were saying there are three domains when we talk about education. Let it be skill education, let it be school education, let it be higher education. It will be always in three domains, and depending upon expected outcome, the NSQF organizes the qualification in series, and each level will be defined by descriptors, as was doubling descriptor. Here also, each level is defined by descriptor, and it is having five levels. You can say it will have five parameters for each of the level. These five parameters of each level will be process, professional knowledge, professional skill, core skill, and responsibility. My request is everybody should note and understand that qualification framework will always be under these five parameters based on three domains. Three domains are cognitive domain, skill domain, attitude domain, and they will be classified under five parameters: process, professional knowledge, professional skill, core skill, and responsibility. And NHEQF has also copied as it is these parameters from NSEQF. The process means general summary of other four domains corresponding to that level. Professional knowledge is what a learner should know and understand with reference to the subject or field of knowledge. It will depend upon the depth, breadth, kinds of knowledge and its complexity. As it very clearly stated, lower level will have less complexity, less depth and breadth. As you rise up the levels, depth, breadth, as well as complexity in knowledge domain will increase. Similarly, this kinds of knowledge will range from concrete to abstract and from segmented to cumulative. Complexity will also change. Now, second domain is skill, professional skill. What does it mean? What a learner will be able to do. So it will take care of cognitive and creative skills involving use of intuitive, logical, critical thinking. So these skills comes from the knowledge domain also. Communication skills, written, oral, literacy, numeracy skills, computing language skills, interpersonal skills. It comes from you can say behavioral domain, general skills that learner should possess to perform a task or a job competently, productively, independently, and also as a part of team. So these are the levels or parameters of that level. Core skills will be definitely the use of method, material, tool, instrument for performing a job. IT skills needed for a given level of study and work. Probably lower level will have different type of skills, but under same domain. Higher level will have much higher. In lower level, it will be the use of the tool. At higher level will be the selection of the proper tool. So core skills are, and fifth parameter is responsibility that the learner can be entrusted. Can he take up his own responsibility? Probably lower level. What is the degree of supervision required? Obviously, for lower level will be less. Very high supervision required. As the level goes up, more autonomy, no supervision should be required. So, degree of supervision is also one of the parameters for qualification descriptors. It determines the nature of working relationship, level of responsibility, managing the change, and accountability of action. NSQF has given levels from level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So level 4 certificate, level 5 diploma, level 6 advanced diploma, level 7 BVoc degree, level 8 PG diploma, level 9 MVoc degree, and research level. Now this was already available in 2013. On this, in alignment with these levels and NSQF, NHEQF came into picture. So when we talk about level 5, you say certificate level. So these five parameters from process, professional knowledge, professional skill, other skill, responsibility, you will find that from certificate, diploma, degree, process parameters are same, but level and learning expectations, outcome expectation, as the level increases, expectation goes up, and they have to be assessed, certified by competent authority, then only qualification will be issued. Now, once we have understood NSQF means what is qualification, what is qualification framework, what is international qualification framework, what is national qualification framework, what is national skill qualification framework, it is very easy for us to understand national higher education qualification framework, on which basis we will be implementing NEP. So this national qualification framework, which is a base fundamental of NHEQF, it is the instrument for classification of qualifications according to set of criteria. Now, in case of NHEQF, this instrument has been given in a continuum level from 4.5 to 8. Means from 1 to 4 will be school education, and our higher education, generally what we call it as first year, will be level 4.5, and what we call it research, it will be level 8. So everything is converted into competency based and level based education. So each level is structured based on defined learning outcome. So statements are there. These statements are regarding what the learner is expected to know, understand, able to do on successful completion of the program. So students should be able to demonstrate the attribute in terms of expected learning outcome, whether acquired through any mode of learning, direct, face-to-face, open, distance, online, hybrid, blended, mode of instruction or learning is less important. Demonstrating the attribute expected learning outcome is more important. This is the big change when we will implement national education policy. The characteristics, it will be a comprehensive framework, is higher education qualification, certificate, diploma, degree will be awarded based on demonstrated achievement of learning outcome. This is the very, very important and fundamental principles of giving qualification. Say, for example, I am in third year of education, but my assessment shows my learning outcomes are equivalent to certificate first year. Probably I will be issued with certificate rather than degree, because it is all about demonstrating the level expected outcomes of particular level. This is the, you can say, spirit behind implementation of NEP. So it will, purpose is very clear. It will provide the national level integrated framework for recognizing and accrediting qualification. So they are offered by different institutions, but they will be recognized and accredited, and equivalency will be there, not only within the country, but even international standard also. And it will provide the points of reference for setting and assessing the academic standard, designing the curricula, teaching learning assessment strategies, and review of program, as well as all stakeholders, including employers. They will be able to understand the level of expected outcome, knowledge, skill, attitude, of course, in the attribute. And when we say that my student is certified, the employer or all other stakeholders will understand what are the attributes in that. When I say it is a diploma, all stakeholders will understand. Same will be the case with degree, 4 years degree, honors, research, or PG diploma or research. So once we say the qualification, automatically the descriptor and attainment of those levels will come into picture, because it will be assessed by competent authority. So this is the purpose. Now let us understand NHEQF levels and what type of qualifications are there. The NSQF has given 5 to 10, but NHEQF has given what we generally call first year will be level 4.5. It will have give under, suppose a candidate leaves after first year, then that candidate will be awarded with undergraduate certificate program. It will be of minimum 1 year, that is 2 semesters. And if the candidate prefers to leave, exit, then it has to be followed by 4 credit skill enhancement course or 4 credit internship. So 1 year, I will later on few minutes will come 40 credits, 1200 learning hours, and internship 4 credit or skill enhancement course will entail a student living first year with undergraduate certificate. If lives in second year, conventionally what we call it, so it will be level 5, it will be undergraduate diploma. So if the student is expected to complete 2 years, that is 4 semesters of undergraduate program, followed by exit 4 credit skill enhancement course or internship lasting minimum 2 months. So the candidate will be getting 80 credits, 1200 plus 1200, 2400 learning hours, you get 80 credits and minimum 4 credit skill course or internship. And suppose the candidate prefers to exit for some reason or job, he will be awarded, or she will be awarded with diploma. Same level 5.5, 3 years degree. So bachelor's degree of 3 year, first 3 year, and accordingly years are converted into levels, and each level is given with certain qualification descriptor. So level 6, level 6.5, 7, and 8 is the doctoral level. The descriptors will be, as we know, education means 3 domains. So descriptor will also be in 3 domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. Now here I am summarizing it. Suppose a candidate is at level 4.5, so 1 year, first year completion, or level 5, that is diploma level, so second year completion, or 3 years bachelor degree, that is level 0.5. So domain is same, knowledge, understanding, but you will find as the level progresses, the expectation that graduate should be able to demonstrate. Remember, it is after successful demonstration, assessment by competent authority, or then and then qualification will be given. That is, certificate will be given, or diploma or degree will be given. You will find that if it is level lower, that is 4.5 level, the expected of level of knowledge is just knowing fact, concept, principle, theory, and processes in broad multidisciplinary learning. When he goes to second year, it will be chosen field of learning, and one or two or multiple, you can say, depth. He has to have deeper knowledge and more depth. If, in level or first level, it was only lower level, knowing facts, concept, principle, and you can say moderate and procedural knowledge. Now in level 5, deeper knowledge and understanding is expected. And when he goes to level 5.5 degree level, comprehensive knowledge is expected. In along with one discipline, it is expected that a more disciplinary knowledge, more field of learning is aware, and knowledge of current and emerging issues within the chosen field of learning is also expected. So emerging issue, the new things, they are not expected in certificate or diploma, but definitely in degree, it will be expected. What is the takeaway for us? If I am designing my curriculum, I have to do it under qualification framework. So if I am designing curriculum for first year, I will have to ensure that it is a certificate level course, and depth and breadth of my knowledge and you can say learning outcome, which I will design for that course, will be mapping with level 4.5. If I am designing for second year, my learning outcome should match with diploma, and my course should ensure this deeper knowledge and understanding of one of the learning areas. If I am designing it for third year, I will have to ensure that it will not only depth and breadth will be very good in a chosen field, as well as current and emerging issues also should come in my course curriculum. If I come to psychomotor domain, second domain, which is application of knowledge and skill, if it is level 4.5, which we call it first year, or now NEP will call it certificate level course. there you will find that main practical here, practical skills are important. So whatever set patterns are there, candidate is expected to have good control of practicing those patterns, and he should be able to select and use basic methods, tools, material, and information to generate solutions to specific problem. This is what is expected from certificate level. He will be assessed for this level of skill. But when he comes to diploma level, what we call it as second year, or now what we will be calling at level 5, it will be applying the specialized knowledge with gather quantitative as well as qualitative data. The candidate should be able to select and apply basic methods as well as now formulate the solutions. Not only generate, he should be able to formulate solutions. So those should be applicable some in other areas also. And when he comes to level 5.5, even the domain is application of knowledge, you will find the expectations is the candidate should be able to employ the right approaches to generate solutions, problems, and you should not be only able to gather, but candidate should be able to analyze and assess the appropriateness of solving the problem. So earlier gathering was there. In second level, interpreting was there. Now here, judgment and analyzing also is required. When he goes to now regarding performing accomplished tasks, here also you will find as the level goes higher and higher, the skills of performing and task also will go higher and higher. I will share all these, you can say, PPTs so that I did not repeat, simply read it. Same will be the case with, since we are talking about skill development, I have taken talk more about skill domain of it. Employment ready skill, entrepreneurship skills, and mindsets. Level from certificate to diploma will be different, from diploma to degree will be different. And outcome takeaway for us is that when we will design a curriculum, we will design a program, we will design the course, we have to keep in mind the expected learning outcome, and these statements, they are given by statutory bodies under NHEQF. In same case with value systems, so we will have all three domains, and in affinitive domain, we have to give universal human values, ethical values, moral values, constitutional value, and they are depending upon certificate, diploma, or degree. If we see the certificate, it will be expected that they should be able to put forward convincing argument to respond to the ethical and moral issue. While if he goes to degree level, he should be able to embrace it, implement it, make it a part of the system. He should be able to create ethical practices. He will not only follow, but he will become the role model for this value and ethical system. This is what will expected as the level goes. Now, in few minutes, because now time is running, so we will just go through National Credit Framework, which is important part of NHEQF for our implementation of NEP in true spirit. So credits are, you can say, based on the basic principle that they are function of achieving the desired learning outcome determined by successful assessment. So assessment and desired learning outcome, these are two important words. The National Credit Framework gives credit for many dimensions and components of learning. Credits can be earned by virtue of academic education, by undergoing vocational education, training, skilling, internship, or experiential learning. Let it be on sports, let it be on culture, whatever experiential learning the candidate does. For everything what a student performs or participates in college, the credits can be given. The mechanism is for every 1200 hours of learning. 1 year is considered to be 1200 hours of learning, and student will earn 40 credit. It means per semester, there should be minimum 600 hours of learning and minimum 20 credits. Takeaway for us, when we will design the curriculum for a semester system, we have to ensure that during 90 teaching days or in vacation, including you can say internship or field work. 600 hours of learning are there, and all credits together for a semester should not be less than 20 credits. So this is what is the credit framework, which is a part and parcel of our NEP and last is curriculum framework. So there are various verticals in UG curriculum as per NEP, choices of major minor, courses of Indian knowledge system, generic as well as subject specific, internship, field-based learning practices, community engagement, vocational skill enhancement. All these verticals are to be equally distributed over duration of the course. If the student goes for certificate course, he should get all verticals. Diploma, 2 years, all vertical. Degree, 3 years or 4 years degree, verticals have to be there. And finally, this NEP implementation is outcome-based education. So before implementation, everybody of us should be aware of program outcomes given by statutory bodies. We don't have to define them. For our program, we have to define program educational objective. This program learning outcomes, what a student is expected to do after 3 or 4 years after getting qualification. And course outcome or course learning outcome, after learning a given course, what the student will be able to do. So first, outcomes have to be defined, statements have to be made, and then curriculum implementation is to be done within the framework of credit framework, 600 hours per semester, minimum 20 credits with verticals of NEP, with learning outcome and 5 parameters for qualification descriptors, which we have already discussed. So I will give few minutes for discussion. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I express sincere thanks for patience hearing. If any query, anything you want me to answer, I am ready now. Was there disruption during presentation due to network issue?
No, sir, absolutely not.
Thank you.
Sir, I have one query.
Yes, sir.
Sir, myself Milind Shirbate, I am from Akola.
Right.
Sir, you have explained very nicely this NEP and this framework curriculum based. So the question is in my mind that in this from this year we are going to start the NEP.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and in that board of studies have framed some of the courses, some new verticals in our subject. My subject is zoology, but there I think there are some limitations to run the new course or new curriculum in our subject. This is my views. So if we start this slowly, or we can say if we start this process in a simple way, so it could be workable or not. That is my question, sir. Because all the resources are not there in our colleges and other colleges too. For example, if I want to start a new course, for example, bird photography and other field practices, so it needs some basic instruments which we don't have. It. So, what will be the future prospects for these say courses, sir?
Thank you, sir. Your worry is very real and I appreciate it. But, sir, in our university, we have already successfully implemented NEP in the form choice-based credit system. So
Yes, sir.
choice-based credit system is most important component of NEP. So that we have already started. Second thing, this NEP will be implemented from first year. It will not go directly to final year. It will be next year. It will be for first year, then for second year, then for third year, then by fourth year. Like that, coming 4 years, all levels will be implemented for undergraduate. So they are going with that. Now, only your mainly there are certain courses you want to design and facilities will be required. Sir, every course will have a basket, and in basket there will be number of courses, and amongst there will be two parts of courses mainly. One will be certain portion which are mandatory, for which we are already being running those courses for years together. So some portion will be mandatory. If a student is studying BSc with zoology, then certain courses the student will have no choice. Those courses will have to be studied, and mostly those courses are conventional part. So that portion we are already expert. Now remaining 50-60%, there will be basket having number of courses, and students will have option to learn either from the college or through Swayam. NEP clearly states that 40% of the student courses, if student learns on Swayam, credit will be made available. If certain college immediately does not have certain facility, but student insists that I want to learn this course only, then college and teacher becomes a facilitator, and we will show that okay, this course is available on NPTEL or Swayam. You learn it on your credit and submit. That will be acceptable. And open courses generally will be from other faculty. Suppose a student is studying science faculty zoology, then other than science faculty, student will have to select few courses. They are not many, one or two, but from other than science faculty. Now, other than science faculty means conventionally either from arts or commerce or engineering. A student, he can learn something, say computer programming he wants to learn. It is not from science, but say from engineering faculty, or he wants to learn accountancy, basic accountancy from account. Now remember, such courses which a student will learn from other faculty will be out of interest. They will not be out of academic. So level of that course will be just passion. It's accountancy learned by commerce will not be the subject which will be learned by zoology student. He will learn only very simple things about accountancy, and board of studies from commerce will have to design a course for science which will be only for out of interest. So this is how the vertical IKS Indian knowledge system will be for first year, that is first semester, or probably they are thinking of putting in one second IKS in third semester. Okay, IKS will be relevant. Suppose the student is from zoology, ancient, you can say science, regarding science in general and about zoology in particular, that syllabus will be taught to the student. And it is not taking the clock back. In fact, because of sustainable development, it is the first question is, for thousands of years, Earth existence never came in question. While technology was always evolving, technology was there. But this question, global warming and whether Earth will remain or not, or whether fuel will remain, or such question never came. It came only in last 2 centuries. After 1700, because of the Industrial Revolution, only this problem started. So they are looking for the solutions in traditional knowledge. So it is a good concept, and it is nothing like that. Some Sanskrit has to be learned or nothing like that. Your subject related, what was there in traditional knowledge, that has to become, and suppose that is helpful. In case of chemical engineering, I know very processes. In case of Ayurveda, many things have come up which are sustainable in nature. So those knowledge they want to give. That is why IKS came. The most important change where we, the colleges, will face challenge will be providing experiential learning, providing internship to 100% student, providing field work to the 100% student, and assessing of internship and giving credit, because otherwise credibility will go. If student go bring some certificate and credits are awarded, then credibility will go. So main challenge I find the regular verticals probably we will not face much problem, but this components, experiential learning component, and it is of 10-12 credit, it's not small. So this is what I feel, sir. I hope I am able to
Yeah,
give just.
yes, sir. Yeah, I understood. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any more question from the participants? If no more question is there, then I will express the vote of thanks. Thank you very much, sir, Marathi sir. I I thanks you on the behalf of UGC, HRDC, MMTTC, and Mohammad Atik sir, our director. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Please convey my thanks to all also. Atik
Okay,
sir.
okay, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you,
okay.
thank you. Okay, thank you all participants. Thank you. So I leave.
Yes, sir, you can use.